man, I have a lot of things I need to review, but what should I review? I don't know what there is to review. I have so many things. I don't. Oh, Pr Prisoners. It's one of my favorite movies of of 2013. It's an amazing movie. We should definitely review this. Well, guess it's finally time to do this. Guys, I am finally starting my series of all the reviews of all the Star Wars movies that I promised, I'm sure, a few months ago. And of course, I'm going to have a few. I'm gonna list how these reviews are gonna go. So, um, this series is going to go in order from my least favorite Star Wars movie to my favorite. Um, it's going to uh, it's going to be done. I will make sure it is done before The Force Awakens comes out in December. And every single review will go over the entire movie. And so there are plenty spoilers ahead. So just be sure to take note of that. And if you haven't seen all the movies, go ahead and go watch them before each video I make. Don't watch every single one before each review. Watch whatever one I'm reviewing at that time, except for maybe this one. Now, without further ado, let's get into my review of Attack of the Clones. So this movie starts out with Padme's double getting assassinated because they were trying to kill Padme, the senator or whatever. Anyway, so the Jedi, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, are assigned the task to be her security and whatnot. But immediately what I find wrong with this movie is, of course, uh, Hayden Christensen. Because the very first scene you see him in, when he's with Obi-Wan on the elevator going to meet Padme again, you can already hear the whininess in his voice. You can already hear it. It's already there. It's like, oh my gosh, could you whine anymore? Okay, let's keep going. So, and the assassin again tries to kill her, and this time, you want to know his secret weapon? The best weapon an assassin can use to kill someone? Worms! It was worms! Yeah, so the person uses worms to try and kill her. You know, not a bomb or a gun or anything besides frickin' worms. But okay, so of course the Jedi come in, kill the worms just in time. Obi-Wan goes out, jumps on this robot, and it leads to a chase scene that looks terrible because the CGI is outdated. Then there's one part in the chase where Anakin is on this car, and and Obi-Wan's mad at him because he thought he took a shortcut, but he didn't. So Obi-Wan's mad at him. He's like, well, if you'll excuse me, he jumps off the car, and Obi-Wan's like, I hate it when he does that. And it's like, okay, does this happen a lot? Anakin jumping out of cars to land on another car that you've been chasing? I doubt that's happened a lot, but you know, I wouldn't really be surprised. I will give props, however, to a very funny scene in which Obi-Wan walks up into this bar and a guy tries to sell him death sticks, and Obi-Wan tells him to go home and rethink his life and that he doesn't want death sticks. It cracks me up every time I watch this movie, actually. It's actually pretty funny. So anyway, they capture the assassin, and before they can get any information out of her, Jango Fett, I mean, who could that possibly be? Shoots her from a distance away and kills her. But it's like, okay, good job, but couldn't you have done that to the Senator, Padme? I mean, you have a really precise aim considering how far away you hit from. You couldn't have done this yourself? What? Next, Anakin is assigned to protect, or whatever, be her guard, Padme's guard, uh, getting away from the planet of Coruscant so that the assassins aren't able to get to as easy. And then comes, the next few scenes comes some very excruciatingly boring dialogue in which Jedis walk and talk. And, you know, as a kid, stuff like this didn't bore me because I don't know why. Just nothing bored me when I was a kid. But I'm not a kid anymore. There were multiple times in this movie I had to pause the movie, do something else like play a game or watch some anime or watch a movie or something, or watch YouTube videos because I was bored of this. I couldn't watch it anymore. I was just it's so annoying. Anyway, Obi-Wan heads to this planet called Kamino, in which a Jedi named Master Sifo-Dyas ordered a clone army to be made there. And if you think they mention him maybe again sometime, because it'd probably be important, no, they don't. I actually was watching this, wondering, do they actually have some dialogue afterwards that mentions him again? Because I actually had a feeling they do. No, never again is he mentioned, even though he should have been. That makes sense. Anyway, Obi-Wan Kenobi finds Jango Fett. Uh, uh, an actually pretty good fight scene occurs with him, with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Jango Fett. I actually enjoy this scene to this day. It's really fun for me, especially when Obi-Wan gets his like hands wrapped up and he kicks Jango off the ledge. He's like, "Oh no." Oh no, or oh not good. I can't remember what he says exactly. And he gets like pulled off. That is always funny to me. And then a chase scene happens through an asteroid field, and unlike Empire Strikes Back, where it was actually really good and intense, it's kind of boring, except for like these parts where Jango Fett unleashes like uh these bombs, and they're really awesome because they do this thing when they explode, they're like, wow, and it's like, oh, that's cool. While all this is taking place, there are scenes in which Anakin is talking with Padme, and it's boring, and there's a romance, developing, and it's so boring. The dialogue is cringeworthy. It's like, and it's like, why would you send a Jedi? Keep in mind, a young Jedi with a girl almost exactly the same age as him to these beautiful like places, and then you tell him that Jedi can't love and all this. It's like, what? Come on. It's like, and Jedi can't love. What is that rule even supposed to be? It's like, yeah, you can't love because some reason. Oh, actually, we can't reproduce because we don't love anyone, so I'm guessing they probably have to like take orphan kids or like take kids away from their parents if they have a high midi-chlorian count. It's like really dumb, and it makes absolutely no sense. And then on top of this, Padme's constantly changing her clothing to make it more revealing. And of course, when they kiss at this one point, it falls flat, and I don't care at all. And then, and then the dialogue. Oh my gosh. I don't like sand. It's rough and coarse and irritating and gets everywhere. Also, constantly in this movie, Anakin gives major creeper face to Padme whenever he looks at her. He's like, and I mean, just look at this. Now another scene happens, and this takes place between all of it, all the parts I was just talking about, in which Jar Jar Binks, Jar Jar Binks, he gives emergency powers to Chancellor Palpatine. So, of course, I'm sure most people on the internet know already, Jar Jar Binks is responsible for the fall of the Galactic Senate and the rise of the Emperor. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't hate Jar Jar, mostly because I was a kid, and that's why I didn't really hate him. But I mean, I didn't even really hate him as how I am now. I didn't really hate him, but when this dawned upon me in this movie, I think he's the worst Star Wars character ever now. He is. Later on, Anakin takes Padme to Tatooine because he wants to find his mother. And when he does eventually find her, what takes place is probably one of the best, definitely the best scene in this entire movie, in which Anakin is like holding her dead body, and like you see the anger envelop on his face, and then he goes and just massacres all the Tusken Raiders. And oh, it's just a very good scene, and especially the part where he's walking back and they see in the distance him carrying his mother's body. Definitely good job at developing Anakin's dark side on that. However, after that we get another one of the stupidest lines in this movie, in which Anakin has to say what he's feeling for some reason. They're animals, and I slaughtered them like animals. Not just the men, but the women, and the children too. I hate them. So then Anakin and Padme get a call from Obi-Wan Kenobi, and they realize he's been captured, so they head to this planet called Geonosis to rescue him, and of course then happens a scene in which it's really boring, where Anakin is like dodging a bunch of machinery, and then Padme's in this big, I don't know what I would call it, like a bucket or something, and then C-3PO's getting into mischief, getting his body parts put onto droid parts, and it's kind of just boring scene, really, in my opinion. The only thing that was actually kind of suspenseful is when Anakin gets his arm trapped, but not really. Anyway, so then the scene ends, and apparently I heard that this scene was like probably the last scene that was filmed, and Lucas just wanted to put it in. I don't know why. You never know with Lucas, I'm telling you. So Anakin and Padme are captured again. Or not again, but they're just captured. And then they kiss again. Then they're with Obi-Wan, and I actually like this next scene in which like basically no music starts it out, and they start like having to maneuver around these animals that are trying to kill them. I actually really like this scene, but the only one that gets hurt is Padme, and there's really no tension or anything, but I like it nonetheless. Then Mace Windu and a bunch of Jedi people decide they finally should do something besides walk around and talk or sit and talk all day, every day, and they come to help them out. And then, of course, George Lucas decides to kill Fett in the most embarrassing way possible again, which Mace Windu just cuts off Jango Fett's head with ease, and it's like... Also, this fight scene with the Jedi in general, I actually liked this a lot as a kid. Now that I'm older, it's okay. Then Yoda shows up with the clone army to save the day, and Anakin and Obi-Wan go after Count Dooku, and leads into the worst lightsaber battle out of the entire saga of Star Wars films. Because at least in Phantom Menace, the fight scene was awesomely choreographed, and it had Darth Maul. And in this one, Anakin gets electrocuted, and then Obi-Wan blocks the electrocution, and he's like, I don't think so. And then he gets his knee cut and his leg cut, and he can't move anymore. Then Anakin starts fighting, and then they do these close-up shots in the dark when they're fighting with lightsabers. It goes on for 5 or 6 minutes, I'm pretty sure. At least it feels like that. Then finally Anakin gets his arm cut off, and he gets force pushed back. That's the scene. So then Yoda shows up, and probably the stupidest scene in the film occurs. I mean, it's not the stupidest, but it's definitely one of the stupidest. Comes up, Count Dooku's like, force push, and Yoda's like, nuh-uh, and then he shoots lightning, like, and Yoda's like, boom, psh. And then the next part, Count Dooku's just like, let's do it with lightsabers, and then, okay, let me compose myself. Yoda starts jumping around in the air, yelling like a maniac, and just trying to lightsaber fight. It is the stupidest thing I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so Count Dooku escapes, Anakin and Obi-Wan get saved by Yoda, and Anakin and Padme get married in secret and start episode 3. So, that was a lot to talk about. So let me kind of recap my thoughts here. So, Attack of the Clones, Episode 2 of Star Wars, is the worst Star Wars movie in my opinion. It's it's constantly barraged with boring, annoying dialogue, a terrible romance story, and that's what this whole entire movie is this stupid romance story that no one cares about. And when they finally get married by the end, you don't care because you never cared about the characters in the first place. And then you have the exposition, walking, talking dialogue again that we had in Phantom Menace, and it's like, oh my gosh, do we need all of this stuff? No, we don't. Can we have something of interest going on? Ugh. Then, of course, we have this boring, stupid lightsaber battle, Hayden Christensen, this terrible, outdated CGI that makes it look like people are in a video game world, like it's freaking Who Framed Roger Rabbit, or one of those films in which, or like Space Jam, where they like have an actual person filmed around like cartoons and everything. It's like, what the heck? And with this movie's faults, I will say there were one or two things, or a few things, that I did like about this movie. Of course, you already know what I liked about this movie because I mentioned it, but I will reinstate what I said. I really like the Obi-Wan death stick scene, still very funny to this day. The Jango Fett fight with Obi-Wan Kenobi is very good. Best scene in the movie has to be with Anakin and his mom and the anger that takes place. It was very very well done. Those scenes in general, and uh, I don't know if I'm alone on this one, but I hope I don't butcher his name. Ian McDiarmid or something like that. I hope I didn't butcher that. I feel really bad if I did. But him as the Chancellor, and you don't see it as much in this movie. You'll see it way more in the next one. I think he was perfect for Darth Sidious because I think he has the most fun with the movie because he knows it's not really that good. I'm pretty sure he had the most fun on set when he was doing his lines, especially Revenge of the Sith. I'll get to that when I get to my review of that movie. Of course, I have to say, of course, the best parts of the prequels is still John Williams' music. Duh. And anyway, guys, with all its faults, but even with all its great moments, it has so many faults and the most boring, cringeworthy, excruciating everything in this movie just makes me not want to rewatch this movie ever again, unless I'm like doing a big film like movie night in which I watch all the Star Wars movies. I'm never gonna want to watch this movie again. And that's why I'm saying, guys, that Star Wars Attack of the Clones should be watched pirated or bootlegged. Guys, I just want to thank you again so much for watching my reviews. And if you liked this review, please go watch all my other reviews. And I will be continuing this Star Wars series. Phantom Menace will come out soon. So be tuned in for that. Also, I will try to get my reviews of the first 3 Metal Gear Solid games, because those are the only ones I played, before Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, comes out. So look forward to those too. I will try my best to get those done as quick as possible. And with that, guys, if you like this video, please do not forget to like it and subscribe to my channel. And what are your thoughts on this movie? Whatever you thought, comment below, and I would like to see that. It'd be just really, really interesting. And with that, guys, as always, do not forget.
I don't like sand. It's coarse, rough, and irritating, and it gets everywhere.